It does look like Tina's emote. Like, I've used
Yeah.
Tina's emote, and I've had people be like, "Is that your cat?" No.
Orange kitties are the best, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's awesome.
I heard that they're like science is also working on like not the closest word I can come to it is fake. Oh my god. It's like it's where you don't have to like you don't have to carry a baby in you, but they do. Someone help me out here. It's like
Um,
fake,
A fake uterus? Is that what you're
not a
um
uterus, but the thing that like something that carries babies outside of
I
women.
I had no idea they had this technology. Are you sure you're not thinking of Death Stranding?
No,
Baby in a jar.
no, incubation pod, something like that. Yeah,
I had no
artificial womb. Yes, artificial womb.
I had
Thank
no
artificial
you.
idea this was a
okay.
thing.
Thank you, Tanker. Oh my god. Artificial womb. My brain just stopped working all of a sudden. Yeah,
Um,
they're working on artificial wombs and I'm here for it. I'm fucking
I
here
mean,
for it.
we've had surrogates for a while if you can't carry your baby. That
No, I know.
I think that's a interesting thing, and in order to be a surrogate, you have to be a very special person.
Mhm.
Because having a baby and being pregnant and not being like attached to it in some emotional sense is very difficult. Even if you
I
don't
imagine,
want the
yeah.
baby, when you give birth to that thing, all the like the hormones that rush through your body that are natural that make you are like forcing you to bond with it. Essentially, it's hard. And I absolutely think that surrogates are heroes in of some way. Don't need a dick.
I'm looking at an article about it right now from October of 2019. And it says scientists in the Netherlands say they are within 10 years of developing an artificial womb that could save the lives of premature babies.
Oh, wow.
But I can imagine that's gonna extend outside of premature birth.
Right. That's cool. Because having a premature baby is very risky, and
Mhm.
uh,
Turkey baster baby.
turkey baster babies, you don't need a penis. I want a turkey baster the size of a fist, please.
And then okay. Something else I'm gonna add to that too is pregnancy is if you actually look at the fundamentals of pregnancy, it is super damaging to a woman and super harmful. And on top of that, I know that I probably have it and my sister-in-law has it. It's I forgot what it's called, but it's when you're constantly sick during your whole pregnancy.
Dude, yes, I was on
Oh,
bed
what's it
rest
called?
because of that shit.
Yeah,
I didn't go a day without vomiting on my
yeah.
during my pregnancy. Like I didn't I was like it was so bad that I barely gained weight throughout my pregnancy. I didn't look pregnant until my 9th month, and people are like,
Yeah.
"Oh, how far along are you?" I'm like, "I'm about to pop." They're like, "What?" And I looked like I had this itty bitty little bump. Like surprisingly, my son was like 10 pounds and
Oh
huge
my
and
god.
healthy, but like I barely looked
Yeah.
pregnant.
Your mom had diabetes when I was born, she didn't have diabetes. Um,
Yeah,
that's weird.
Gestational.
gestational
Yeah, that's a
diabetes.
thing where it
Yeah.
goes away after you're done being pregnant. Yep.
Mm.
Um, and so the artificial wombs for women would be a great advancement in society because I think the stress that it puts on women's bodies and the harm and your
Well,
body never goes. I mean, was your body the same after, Remy?
they my one of my doctors that I saw, like an endocrinologist, believes the reason I have lupus is because pregnancy forever altered my body because I was 19 and I was so young, and it just fucked me basically.
Mm-hmm.
I was on I was on bed rest my entire pregnancy. I was very sick during it, and uh a lot of the time, like I couldn't do anything. I was just incapable of doing some of the most basic things. Like my partner would have to help me out of bed just to shower, and like you'd have to like sit outside the bathroom and hold a bucket in case I was getting sick during like my shower. Eventually the showers turned into baths, and they couldn't be too hot because if they were too hot I would like I
Get
would
sick.
just get sick. Like it was so awful. And after my pregnancy, I went through wild hormonal changes. My period got significantly worse and a hell of a lot more painful. And then, like the year after my son was born, I started getting sicker and having more chronic pain issues, and that's when I was diagnosed with lupus. And it like that's one of the actually one of the things they list as possible causes for lupus is pregnancy at a young age, because it does, it forever changes your body. It changes the way my hips are set. Your hips sometimes separate and widen so much after pregnancy that they don't go back. I have a pinched sciatic nerve because my hips were like displaced in such a way. Like it can cause a lot of problems if you're not ready for it. And whoever, I don't know whoever is ready for pregnancy, but there are some women I believe are built for it. Like you look at a woman and you're like, oh yeah, she's built for babies.
Yeah, I mean, but even that, like even women who are built for birthing,
I mean,
still experience like it changes
it,
the
yeah.
structure of your body. I truly believe.
It can lead to sexual dysfunctions where you don't feel as much pleasure. You become numb. Some women, like I know that everyone's like, oh god,
It changes your boobs.
Does my vagina go back to normal? It does. It snaps back. I had a 10-pound baby that was almost 2 feet long, and my vagina is as tight as it's ever been. But it can cause more of a looser feeling for some women down there. It can cause pain during sex. Like,
yes, Homelander. Then what we can do then is have men be the pregnant ones. If you're worried about
seahorse babies.
If you're worried about population size, then you guys can be the ones who birth, okay? If we perfect the artificial stillborns and all that won't happen.
I mean,
okay.
My question is how does the baby in the jar get nutrients? Because we all know the way nutrients are passed are through mother and child through the umbilical cord. So how does a baby in a jar get everything it needs? And like, how do we properly know it's getting everything we need? And also, being a baby in a jar, you're not exposed to things like antibodies and germs that will give you a natural protection. Like, are we going to have more babies that are susceptible to sickness and all sorts of other shit? Like,
well, also children get pick up germs along the way in their lives too. So I think a lot of that.
But a lot of it is
but even actually exiting the vaginal canal exposes you to certain bacteria too.
It's like your microbiomes, which I wish Pat was here for this, because he was actually, we did a podcast where we were talking about things like birth and microbiome and stuff, where like if a woman doesn't give vaginal birth, like they're doing it now with some cesareans, that they'll take swabs of your anus, your vaginal canal, and in your mouth and rub it all over the baby's eyes and face and stuff, so they're exposed. But that doesn't always guarantee like the best exposure. Like like Tina said, you're exposed to so much during a vaginal birth that how do you replicate that? Really, like really truly replicate it.
But if it comes with saving women, we can find a way around it. We're very adaptable. They don't gain antibodies. They of course they would. What do you mean, Kez? Of course they would get antibodies. And there's ways you can put that stuff in the artificial womb too, of course, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like even if they are missing a little bit of microbiome, like at the end of the day, yeah, they might have like a sensitive stomach or something, but like that's
stem cells probably as well. I can imagine stem cells have something to do with that. Maybe. I don't fucking know.
I mean, it's possible. Maybe I'm a little, I guess my concern is like if we keep going and progressing the way we are, where we're exposed to less and less, and we have things that we're going to be exposed to more and more as we grow, because well, I mean, fuck, we know a pandemic is possible. We know that they're going to, like, people say they're going to increase in numbers, like illnesses and stuff, and the less we're exposed to as children and as infants and in the womb, the more we're going to be susceptible to things later.
We get pandemics because we live so close to animals.
I guess
It's because we expose ourselves to too much is
there
why we are getting pandemics in the first place, you know?
baby formula doesn't have that stuff in it. If you breastfeed,
Right.
if you breastfeed,
Right.
you're going to give your child more of a healthy start, but it's not necessary. uh Breastfeeding is a choice, and some babies don't do it. Like my son refused to breastfeed. Like he did not want any part of it, and that's fine. I was fine with that. I don't like things hanging from my titties anyway. Like, but
Yeah.
I guess my concern is the more we move towards like more technological advances that make us, I feel like it's going to make us more susceptible to things later on, and we're going to have we might have better healthcare and better ways to help it once we get things, but we're still going to be exposed to so much.
Homelander, Donald Trump was brought up because of a fucking rich family. So get rid of capitalism, okay? And you don't have sociopaths like Donald Trump. It's not because of sterilization from, you can still experience things.
What are you talking about? Yeah, I'm confused. Brought up distinct ourselves more and more, creating more possibility for sociopaths. No, I'm talking about like germs and pandemics and diseases and illness.
You can still get germs. When the kid's out of the womb, they can still touch the cement with lots of germs in it and put it in their mouth.
Well,
You know,
I mean,
like
you think about it. I don't know. Parents nowadays are less and less likely to let their children go outside and play and eat dirt. I knew I grew up like that. Like, fuck, if I drop something on the ground, I'd eat it. But there are a lot more parents, especially because I've watched this as a trend where like parents are afraid of the 5-second rule. Parents are afraid to let their children even eat outside because germs. Like, there are more and more bubble children essentially because parents are like more afraid of them getting sick. So their fear of getting their children being exposed to things makes their child essentially more susceptible.
Right. And that's no longer an artificial womb problem. That's
yeah. I understand,
but
it just goes along with it, kind of like it adds to it, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm really, really confused about what Homelander is talking about, because artificial wombs aren't going to create sociopaths. You're still gonna have a mother. You're gonna have someone who cares about you. Fuck, we could probably talk to you easier if you had artificial wombs. You know how much fun it would be to talk to a baby in a jar rather than talking to my stomach.
And you know how much fun it would be not being pregnant, man? Come on, Homelander. What are you doing?
People like trying to touch me?
Is society gonna fall now that women aren't carrying babies anymore? Oh no.
I mean, seahorses have been around for a while and the men carry the babies, so anyway.
And it'd be better to be able to see the baby too, because then you don't miss a lot of the stuff that can be easily missed.
Ultrasounds would be the thing of the past.
Yeah.
But no, like I would love to read a book to a baby in a jar than just like I hated the concept of talking to my stomach while I was pregnant. I'm like, I don't want to talk to myself.
Yeah.
I hate it when people try to touch me.
It's not every time you say baby in a jar, it's not in a jar. It's not in a jar.
I'm going to it's forever baby in a jar to me. Like I would love to like also like, you know how shitty it is to be, like when you tell someone you're pregnant and they're like, "Oh, can I feel your tummy?" Like, no, you can't.
No.
Some people don't even ask.
That's what Tanker was saying. That's what Tanker was saying.
Yeah, you just said that.
Oh, I had no idea. I just brought up your chat. I hadn't had it up all for a while.
How many women get the unwanted touches? Yeah.
Fuck, I hate unwanted touches. I have a patch on my jacket that literally says "Don't touch me."
I want one.
We have to think about what could happen. Would love for one not to give birth, but how does this affect the baby in a jar? Will they feel different from those born naturally?
I mean, they probably won't go through the process that they think happens naturally during birth and during death. You won't get that like DMT natural rush that like creates kind of an experience for the baby that we don't really know what happens exactly, but they have found that when you're born and when you die, DMT is released naturally in your brain.
Oh, interesting.
Also, you won't get the baby won't get influx of chemicals that you are going through hormonally, because when you give birth, all those like oxytocin and stuff like that.
Most women have give birth through C-section anyway.
Well,
so
it's when you go into labor, those things are still released through the umbilical cord. So until that cut, your baby's going to be exposed to it. So those bonding chemicals probably won't be released into the baby. I don't know. Like it could cause some interesting side effects, but it's all speculation. We don't really fucking know.
Yeah.
It's actually like all the stuff we've been talking about, it's actually ridiculous how much we don't know. Like especially endometriosis. They don't have a clue. They don't even understand half of the reasons the body does stuff that it does. Like you think we'd understand a lot more about biology before we tried to like, fly into space and stuff, but no.
And this
we're
is
gonna
why
go
I
look at
say
the charts.
when people are so arrogant and cocky and they're like, "Oh, souls don't." I had this argument with my chat yesterday. They're like, "Souls don't exist," and I'm like, "Oh, so we know everything."
Yeah, we
Oh.
know for facts. Yeah, we know for facts.
You guys need to do way more psychedelics. That's all I'm gonna say.
Remy, I would love to talk to you. I feel like you and I are on the same level,
dude.
I would love to have a conversation with you.
I was thinking, I was talking to my partner actually, and how you mentioned TwitchCon. I said, if we don't get to see Coheed and I end up being able to save money, I was thinking about going to TwitchCon. I'm like, what if we just go to TwitchCon together, Tina, and do mushrooms?
Okay, you have to.
Mushrooms.
I want you there too. I want you there too, Tara. You have to come to TwitchCon.
I want to, but I don't think they're going to open up the borders this year. I don't think we're going to be able to go, Tina. I'm being honest.
When is TwitchCon? Like later this year? Like
it's September.
Yeah,
It's normally September.
I don't like. We might be all vaccinated and better by then. We don't know.
Listen, there's things I know.
There's things